I'm Kelsey Zeiser, Senior Editor at Light Reading, and we're here at Mobile World Congress Americas in San Francisco. And I'm joined by Adnan Khan in Resuce. Thanks
Hello.
for joining me.
Hey, you're welcome.
So how do you see technology evolving from 4G to 5G?
Well, that's an interesting question. As we look at the different technologies, we go from 1G to 2G, 3G. It has a period of 10 years whereby technology changes. But going from 4G to 5G, the way I look at it is, basically 5G is not here to replace 4G. It's going to be a smooth evolution from all the features, all the core components that are in 4G. Those are inherently going to be used in 5G. So you talked about different features like, release 12, dual connectivity. You talk about carrier aggregation. We talk about massive MIMO. We talk about high order of modulation. All these features are key components which are going to be used in 5G in long term. So release 12, 13, 14, and then you have release 15, which is primarily the first version of 5G. So these things are going to continue, and then you have the unlicensed band. So all these features that are forming key components that were maybe developed years ago, they didn't have a use for it. They're going to find practical use when we come to 5G.
Okay, and what is Resuce's approach in addressing testing for these new features and advancements in these emerging technologies?
Right. So the key features we're looking at right now, if you look at how 4G is evolving to 5G, is at one point they're going towards high data rates, high throughput. You talked about we had Cat 6 devices doing 300 megabit per second, Cat 9 doing 450, and then we had Cat 12. Cat 16 is 1 gigabit per second, so it's all about gigabit LTE right now. So what's happening is we're looking at 4CA, 5CA, 2x2 MIMO, and we have several equipment over here that we are currently displaying, which one of them is MT8821C, the other is MD8475B. All those equipment are capable of doing 4CA, 5CA, 2x2 MIMO, 4x4 MIMO. Those are the building blocks of 5G. So we are able to do throughput at north of 1 gigabit per second using the equipment over here. So those are the main areas. Plus we're also looking at the lower end of things, which I would say looking at narrowband IoT category M1 and those kind of technologies, which are low throughput but high power, basically high power as well as high battery life, a longer battery life, right?
And in the transition from 4G to 5G, what are some of the challenges in testing?
That's an interesting question. There are several challenges over there. Other than the technology part, it's a mindset. So if you look at it from in a 5G perspective, there has been a lot of focus on millimeter wave. And then millimeter wave, as you know, it's something that will not reach out too far, like 28 gigahertz, 39 gigahertz, which is primarily being used. There's always sub 6 gigahertz that's being used in millimeter wave, in 5G, I'm sorry. But certainly you have 28 and 39 gigahertz, but it does have its propagation issues, and it cannot reach that far. And since it has a high propagation loss, you cannot actually use cables. So people who have been testing it for the longest time, the key thing to look at is it's change of mindset. You will not be doing conducted testing. It's going to be over-the-air testing, maybe requiring different OTA chambers. So you will not have those Murata connectors connecting your devices. Everything will be over there. That's one of the mindset challenge. And then from a technology perspective, the challenge is the cost of it. You cannot afford to have anechoic chambers for different testing. So we really have to be creative over here on how we can make the testing more smoothly transition from 4G to 5G.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talked about cost and mindset challenges. What's Resuce's approach? How are you addressing those challenges?
Some of the requirements that are there from key customers is customers have invested a lot on 4G equipment. So we are a test and measurement equipment company, obviously. For so many years, they have invested in a lot of big systems, and they want to reuse that system as much as possible, right? So from a Resuce perspective, we need to find ways whereby they can reuse the existing systems that we have when we come to 5G testing, as well as use new systems that are primarily focused on millimeter wave, but have a way of utilizing what they currently have and basically get more lifeline out of their current equipment. That's one way of looking at. And the other thing, what we look at is, since 5G specifications are still being developed, what we have to see is how can we make common assumptions in specifications. By the time product comes out, around the time frame when specs are going to be released sometime early next year in March 2018 or so, we need to make sure that we are making the common assumptions with the operators as well as with the chipset vendors on how the stacks are getting developed and then how those protocol stacks are getting implemented in our equipment.
Great. Well, thanks for your time this afternoon. It's been a pleasure.
Sure, absolutely welcome.